Hey everybody, this is Eric from the Reptile Room, and today I'd like to take a look at a couple of different reptiles that are commonly available in the pet trade. Now, oftentimes reptiles are marketed as good, easy beginner pets, and in some cases that's true and in some cases it's not. A case that it would not be true is in the case of this. This is a bearded dragon, and this is a rescue that we have available at the store. Now, these are often marketed as really easy beginner reptiles, and although they're very personable and they're very social, they're a little more difficult to take care of. You got to keep their humidity super low, and if you live in a humid environment, that can be a challenge. They're also omnivores, and they require UVB lighting, which can be quite expensive and has to be replaced annually, so they are great lizards, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a good bearded dragon, but they're not especially cheap to take care of, and they're certainly not the easiest reptile to take care of, despite the fact that they're marketed that way oftentimes. So I'm going to pop that one back now, and let's take a move over to something that actually is a relatively decent beginner reptile, if lizards are sort of your thing. So if we pop over here, there it is. Oh, there he goes. Oh, there he goes. So these are a little less handleable than a bearded dragon. This is a crested gecko. These are a lot easier to care for. They don't require that UV lighting, although they can benefit from it. They do require lower temperatures, which can be a good thing. You don't need expensive heat lamps for them necessarily if your room temperature is decent. They are a little less personable, but care-wise, way infinitely easier than a bearded dragon. This applies to snakes as well. Oh, he's climbing up my arm now. Come here, buddy. Let's go back in your home. So let's pop him back in there and close that up. And we'll move over here a second. So this is a snake that is sold as easy beginner snake. Now, to be fair, ball pythons are relatively easy. That's what this is. They eat once a week. Their temperatures are easy to maintain, but they have their issues. They'll decide to not eat for extended periods. And they are a little bit more temperature and humidity sensitive than some other reptiles can tend to be. For example, let me find a decent example here. This is a very similar example. Now, this is not often marketed as a beginner reptile, fortunately. This is a blood python. Very similar to ball pythons in many regards, but they can be pickier eaters and they can have a bit more of an attitude. Now this one's pretty calm. We've been working with this guy since he hatched out. We actually hatched out a whole bunch of these. But they can be pretty cantankerous from time to time. Now, unfortunately, something that is pretty frequently sold as an easy beginner snake is this. This is a Boa Imperator, more commonly known as a boa constrictor, but technically a slightly different thing. Now, this is a very small, very cute snake. He's got a little bit of a temper to him, but that's all right. I'm very big and scary. Now, this snake's mother is 8.5 feet long, and you have to bear that in mind that these animals will grow to be quite large and live a very long time, so you want to make sure you have the room to accommodate something like this. That said, these won't go off of food like a ball python. They're not all that difficult, but setting up an appropriate home for them can be a little bit more challenging. Now, of course, there are always alternatives. You can have easy reptiles, you can have hard reptiles. For example, these guys down here are Redfoot Tortoises. Tortoises are fantastic. These can be a little trickier to care for. They like a lot of humidity, they like a little bit more protein in their diet, but they're not terrible as far as tortoises go. They do like a lot of room. They like to move around quite a bit. And then for an alternative, we have things like this. This right here is a little tortoise named Lil, and he is a Herman's tortoise, and this is as big as he'll get. Girls will get a little bit bigger, but this would be a much more appropriate starter tortoise. That said, starter tortoise is a dangerous term. This little one could live to be 100. I cannot. So no matter what kind of tortoise you're getting, get one that you're really fascinated with, because they'll be with you for life, and may potentially even be with your children or grandchildren at some point in your life. All things to bear in mind. Anyways, yeah, if you're looking at getting a pet reptile, just remember, research what you're getting, get something you enjoy, but within reason. If you live in an apartment, a green iguana is probably not the best pet reptile for you because it's going to take up a majority of your apartment, where a crested gecko might be a better option in that scenario. But Anyways, they live a long time. Do your research, get something you enjoy, and enjoy it. And if you guys have any questions beyond, well, any of that about what may or may not be a great pet reptile for your circumstance, you can leave a comment on the video. If you don't mind, like and subscribe. That helps the algorithm. And thank you guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.